Sunseeker by Forest River. Let's see what we got going on. All the way from the cheese state right there. Woohoo! We thank you very much. All right, let's go up these fine set of stairs. Let's see what we got. I think there's a fiber, well, people call it fiberglass, but this is really Phylon. Actually, it's an acrylic. So we'll probably end up pulling the roofing up over here, tagging it into the gutter. But I don't like these here. This generally what they do is all the water will sit here and it'll build up before it can come over. We're going to remove that. So it'll either come over this way or it gets terminated on the roof. But I'm pretty sure it's we're just going to bring it over because it's going to be white. Coach is white, so it's no big deal. But I don't know exactly. You can see. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that flexing? We got something going on in there. We're going to find out something suspicious there. So all right. Well, this is your typical die core. I guess it's die core. I'm just guessing. It could be any brand. I don't know, but I don't like die crap. But anyhow, all they do is keep slobbering more on. You can see the different colors here. They keep putting it on there. And I joke and I say the only one's putting more on is a moron. Something wrong with that system. Don't keep doing it. Don't fall for the RV ploy. They have been lying to you for years and years and years, telling you have to put more. This isn't the way you do a commercial roof. Go online, search commercial roof images and look at them. They don't just cut a hole, a square hole, and put a vent down like that. They don't do it. They don't cut out a shape, pour a skylight, and then just plop a skylight on it and slobber it with self-leveling. That isn't the way you do a roof. So, like I said, I'm not really a fan of this stuff generally because, see, I mean, it can come up pretty easy, and I just telling you, the products don't last. So, you know, you can keep doing what you got to do, I guess, but if you're going to put something else on there, you could use Rapid over at Home Depot is pretty good. I've used that before, and I like it. It's not a bad product that you can actually get your hands on. The stuff I use is all commercial grade, but I have used that product before, and I've had pretty good results with it. I mean, you're going to get better results than you will with the die crap. That's for sure. But all right, well, we're going to rip this up. We know we got some issues underneath here, but you can see, like, this air conditioner, there's a gasket under there. That's all that protects this thing from from leaking, really, is that foam gasket. So now you get the dirt, the pollen, the debris that's all been blowing up underneath that thing, and it'll dry that gasket out. When it dries the gasket out, then the gasket becomes compromised, and you have these, basically they're chronic leaks. You're not going to have a deluge of water. Eventually when the little bit of water gets in there, the roof deck will soak it up. And then when the roof deck can't hold anymore, then you're going to start seeing water. And a lot of people, you know, they say, I don't have any leaks on my coach. But that's awesome that you can't see any. That doesn't mean you don't have any. Because when you have them, not only do you have a leak, you've got a lot of damage. So you got to understand the way these work here. This one is what's called plied foam. So if I drill right through here, I'm going to go through 1/8 inch plywood. When I go through that plywood, I'm going to go through probably about 3 inches of foam. And then when I go through there, I'm going to go through the ceiling, 1/8 inch Luan. And then whatever the ceiling texture is, it could be vinyl or foam back vinyl, whatever. But that's it. So when you do have a leak, the roof deck will soak it up, then it'll soak down through something else, that'll soak it up, and then it'll hit somewhere else, and that'll soak it up. By the time you actually see it, you've got water damage in there. And if you don't get it out, you're not going to get it out. It'll stay there. Like, it will be there. We have had coaches for, you know, sitting in our other building for quite a long time, like, you know, months, literally. And we'll go get it. The guy will say, yeah, I had a leak here, there, whatever. We open it up, and it'll pour on us. So you're not getting it out. If it doesn't have air, it's not going to dry. You got to open it up and actually get air on it, remove it. You got to get the mold out of there if there is any, or mold kill it. I recommend it. So, but anyhow, that's what we're going to open this up for you and show you what we got. And we got to protect the coach. We just got on here now. So we're going to protect it and get everything, protect all the awnings. They got to come off anyways to take the gutter off. And we're going to find out what that problem is. If I can open that up quick enough for you, I'll get some tools and see what we got under it. Look at all these screws. There's no caulking in them. They're not sealed. But see all this mess right here? That's the roof deck right there. There's nothing under there except mold. You can see it all right there. That's somebody's genius way of, I'm guessing it came from the factory that way. Why wouldn't they have at least extended that piece another, oh, I don't know, 3 inches or so, right? 3.5 inches. Never surprises me. This is what you get. They don't care. Get it built, get it out, get it sold. These are all the screws we took out. Look how rusty those shanks are. That's not a good sign. See if we can get this piece up. Tear it up. See all that under there? Look at moisture is getting all up underneath that thing from this rail. That's what happened. So it's still wet. That's still wet. Wow, that is wet. Yep. Oh yeah, that is wet. I wish I had a paper towel. I'd stop on it so you can see. But you can see how, see over here? That's all. We're going to redeck it, but I'm just showing you. This is where it comes from. So I don't ever use those rails. This here is a moisture meter. So you'll see the lights, how they go. That is 40.6.4. That's a lot of moisture. That means overload. This is soaked. I mean, you can just tell. So, down here is actually still wet, like. So, all right. Well, we'll rip the rest of it up, show you what we got. Still gotta, I just wanted to get this open, but we gotta get this all protected, awning protected, everything protected before we move anywhere forward. So we already went inside, so we put the rings, we put little covers in the ceiling, so when we take everything out, we don't get junk going down into the coach. All right, so I'm up here, we took off the gutter, and then this is the rail going across the front. This is the front of the coach. This is the bunk. This is the front. So look how much caulking they've got on here. See? And you would think, hey, that's done a good job right there. Look at it all wadded up here. I mean, that's someone would be up here inspecting that, going, hey, that's pretty good. So look what's happened though. One, they never sealed up underneath this. They never sealed anything up here. See all the rust? These are the screws I'm pulling out right here. That one broke. That one's rusty. So they're all rusted. But with all this caulking, and all I do is just run a knife down there. Look at all that rot underneath it. See it? See all that mush? So obviously water's getting in there. So and a lot of people think just keep putting. You can see there's the original right here. You can see the color difference. This one here to this one. That's people keep thinking you can just keep putting more on. There's a problem with the caulking breaking down like that. It shouldn't be breaking down like that. It's the way they market this product that, hey, this is what you need to do for an RV, but it's low budget crap and they want you to keep putting it on. You don't do that on a commercial application. You shouldn't have to go keep putting caulking on there. Now, occasionally you will. I'm not saying you won't on a commercial, application, but you're not going to do it consistently like this every few months. If you did, I'm telling you, the owners would be like, hey, that ain't right. There's something wrong with the product you use. So, but they know it fails. I keep saying that. They know it fails. This product, any product, but especially like caulkings and stuff, they have to go through an ASTM, which is American Standard of Testing Materials. And they know the parameters of how long it'll last and the conditions. So they can still get it passed. They just basically it's not going to last. You see. So, but they know the testing results, but they don't reformulate it. So, anyhow, let's get all this off here. You can see this is all delamination right here. That's what delamination is. And this, looking at this, a lot of times you'll see, like siding, for instance, people get delam on the side. When they get delam on the side, they don't realize that sometimes the luan underneath, that's all this is, the plywood, the thin plywood, is delaminated, and they think they're just going to throw epoxy in there. So in order for it to work, you'd have to epoxy this back to that, but you'd have to get it to lay flat. You couldn't get that to lay flat. That'd be hard to do because it is really out of shape right now. But you know, it depends on how many plies you have. So you got this ply, right? Then there's another ply. So it depends on the wall. It's a 3-ply. So you'd have to get all those layers done before you can put the siding on, which is much like this stuff. This is just an acrylic. This is the same stuff they put on pop-ups. That's what that is, you know. So, and it's got this kind of texture to it. Always needs a whole dirt. But anyhow, let me get something else going. I'll show you. As I pull all this off, I just pulled it back. But look at all that down inside there. How does all that get in there if it's sealed? Kind of makes you wonder, right? See this right here? You can see it. That's where this piece ends, like they did down the other end. They cut it shy. They just tried to put all this cow patty on here to see if they could stop it from leaking. That's where it is. So in this back corner, the water did get down. This is soaked. You can see how the color changes over there. That looks pretty good. But right here, damp. And then this is all wet. Oh wow, yeah, it is wet under there. About halfway through. About halfway through, it looks like it's drying up right there. So now we gotta try to encourage the wall to come back, and I don't know how far down it goes. It may just be this piece. If it is, it's good news. We'll have to take the lights off and see if we can distress it out and see if we can reach in there. So this moisture got all the way up, well, from the top, came all the way down. This is the rear tail light. See the other one over there. There's a window. So it looks like it's soaked down pretty good. How far over, I don't know. But it may have come all the way over to this window or so. But we gotta try to pull some of that back because it's all wet back there. So, and it's all cardboard. That's not even, this is called MDF. And what MDF means is medium dense fiber board. That's the politically correct way of saying cardboard on steroids. That's all it is. So it's all damaged. You're not going to get any strength back on that, especially since it's come apart here and then come apart on this other side right here. See it? It's all loose. So we got to get that right. So this is what we run into. You know, I want to put it together right so they don't have any trouble. Put this back together. This whole thing's going to start delamming, and then they're going to say, "Hey, I got a leak. It came down here." And be like, "No, it was already wet." Can't do that. So we took some pictures and sent it to the customer so they can see what we're doing. Obviously, they'll see afterwards that it's on video. But so we have got all the roofing material up, and some of it was stuck pretty good. Like right here, you can see how it kind of pulled on the grain. We're going to redeck this anyways, and then we get some areas here that we're going to cut. Probably up here, and I'm going to patch that in, and then I'm going to patch a couple other areas in. Then we're going to clad over the whole entire thing with yet another sheet to lock it all in. But some of the things I don't like that I'm looking at, one in particular is, look how sharp that is. So this is the antenna wire. Look at it's kind of kinked in there. Yeah, I don't like that. So we're going to probably see if we can move this anyways. Like you said, I don't really want it there. We may end up moving it somewhere else. But it just, I don't know why it comes down like this and then just makes that right turn like that. That's really kind of hard in that wire. So we're going to see if there's a way we can fix that. Just so we don't have future issues down the road. They do have a plastic bushing in here to protect that. That's pretty good. So that's what we do now, is just look for the way these wires are. They just put some tape on this one, but it's still protecting that edge, so that's a plus. But let's see, this is kind of sharp in here. Let's see how these are doing. This one got a little score on it. And what it is just working into the sheath right here. So we'll probably just at least put a piece of tape. It's really tight too. It's a little loose. Give it some slack, but we'll put something in there to protect that. And you want to get all this stuff addressed. This trunk line is built into, this is what's called a ply foam roof. So underneath the sheathing here, I can peel a piece up. See, you got foam. That's all foam all the way down. So the ductwork that runs in there, that's all built into the foam. So, like I said, so this is the stuff that I'm looking for. And you can just see these faint little lines in there right now, but I don't want them to get worse. So we'll check all that and put some protection on them. And then again, the same thing over here. We're going to come up and get rid of all of this. And then we'll put a patch, and then like you said, we'll put another sheet clad right over the whole entire thing. That's what we're doing over here now. We're just laying it all out. So once we get it all cut, we'll get it laminated and again put another one on top of it. All right, so that's us so far. So, and then the back wall is rotted all the way down. We open this up, and it's rotted all the way down to that back light. That's why we took the light out. So it's rotted all the way down there. I'll have to pop the window out, and then we'll have to see if we can disconnect that camera. Well, we've got to get the siding off and see if we can do a repair on it without it turning into a big episode. So, and I don't know what the framing's like. Sometimes they got some wood frame in there. This may be all aluminum. One thing I've learned about doing all these, nothing's ever etched in stone. Like, I've always run across them where they're this way, and then you get the same model and they changed it. And what I have learned is that whatever's easier for the RV manufacturer to assemble, that's what they'll do, period. And actually, if you read some of their information on when you buy a coach, it'll say, hey, it's built this way, that way, this way, that way, right? And then there's a disclaimer that says that if those products aren't available, they'll use whatever the heck they want. So, and they can just say, you know what, we put this crap on here, this cardboard. We put that on there because we couldn't get anything else. Oh well, you know. And you complain, you go, yeah, see this little clause right here? So if you didn't know that, so, but, all right. Well, that's where we are so far, so let's see what we can do. So there's our skylight to our Sunseeker. So obviously we cut all this, pulled it up. But if this was bonded on here, that should stay. It shouldn't come off like this. This is why I keep saying, don't use this stuff. And some people think if it worked, I'd be using it. It doesn't work. And people just, I don't know, they have this allegiance to the dye crap. But you don't want to use it. See, look how slick that is. Still slick. You can see the sheen on it. So, doesn't stick to plastic like that. So now I flipped it over, and I got to get the butyl off. This butyl just falls right off. It comes off easier than the dye crap. I'm guessing it was dye crap. I don't know what brand it was. But I don't sell anything here, so when I tell you something works or doesn't work, it's not like I'm making money off it. I don't sell anything. So we're just service center. So I just hate to see people put this stuff on all the time. It just doesn't make sense. You know, you shouldn't have to keep going around and do this every few months. This stuff just flakes right off. That's not going to be watertight. I'm surprised you didn't have more damage up on that skylight, to be honest with you, all around it. I was really expecting to be a lot worse. Most of them are. Sometimes you get lucky, but I don't know, I don't take chances like that. Not on a coach especially. You get water in it and you get a lot of damage. So I'm just going to try and get some of this all cleaned up here. And then I got to build a curb for it. And then we'll get it going. Alright, let's go look at our back wall of our Sunseeker. We already took the wall off. So, we're going to show you what's going on. So, you can see how wet that is up in that corner. You come down. All this you can see is soaked. Then it traveled this way, as you can see, and all over here. So that's a lot of travel from that way. So he had some other issues going on here, maybe around light, corner mold. something else is going on, so we're going to tear this off, obviously. But that's all it is, just cardboard. It's just cardboard. It's probably, they may have glued it to this, so we're gonna get it off. It feels like it may have been glued, which, I mean, that's good. I don't know why they just didn't glue a piece of glue on. That would have been better product, but who knows why they do the things they do when it was cheapest for them. So that's what we're gonna do now, is try to get this crap off of here and take a look inside. But this is, like, you can tell it's all wet. So, you know, when you look at it up there, you're like, well, you know, how far does it go? You don't really know. So you have to go, is it worth the investigation? Well, yeah, so we took the corner mold off, peeked inside, we could see it here, took the light out, peeked inside, and then we said, well, we knew it was already wet, even over there, so he said, we might as well just take it off and see what's going on. So I'm kind of glad we did take it off. You know, I don't like to send things out like this with damage behind it. This would be delammed. So you don't want to have that after you put a roof on and take other stuff apart. It's already here, get it done. Yep, that's what I thought. This is part of the floor right here. That's what you're looking at. So it looks wet. I don't want to rot, it looks wet. So I need to get all this off of here so I get that to dry out. It sounds solid. So we'll check it out. It's not a lot, so we're going to see if we dry it out. You know, you don't really need to take it apart. Sometimes, you know, you look at it and it's water stains. That's what it is. When wood gets wet, it has tannin in it. That's what you get, like all that brown. Or if you see a leak, sometimes it'll look brown. That's because the sheathings or the wood is, you know, rotted, and or it's just wet, and it'll leach that tanning. It's kind of like I don't know if you've ever done maybe some what is it there, like chestnuts or something like that, and you try to get the nuts out of the husk, your hands get all that brown or discolored. That's called a tannin, T-A-N-N-I-N. It's a tannin. So, and that's what this is, same thing. So it's not the end of the world. You know, this looks like it's more wet than right here. Right here, that looks like it's drying out a little bit. Yeah, it's a little more stuck than this. So we're gonna get it all off. I'll show you. That's a little wet. That's a little bit. You go over 15%. So, but obviously down here is all wet. That's overload right there. That means it's soaked. But foam is not supposed to have any, so there's still a little moisture. And they say I went to 0. It's good. Let's see if this. Oh, there you go. Foam is not supposed to have any moisture. So all that's good. That means there's nothing else in the wall. It's always to read 0. Always. It doesn't hold moisture. It may be in it, but it doesn't want to hold it, much like wood. Wood's different. It's going to hold moisture. Foam won't. It'll just kind of drain through like a sponge. Eventually, you know, it'll dry out. So, like you said, we're going to get the rest of this off and get it all dried out, get some blowers on here, and, you know, I'm hoping we don't have to do any structural repairs. It'd be great if I could just spray this up and get it done. That would be awesome. You know, spray it up and get the sheathing on here, clean the siding up and stick her back. That would be great. All right, on our Sunseeker, we had some, obviously I showed you all the wetness that was behind the wall, so we stripped it all down. We were running this fan for like 2 days because I want to dry everything out. We were working on something else, so I said, what the heck, just put it on there, maybe we'll get lucky. That's how I was hoping. So, you come, here's your moisture meter, 0, 0. And as you keep going, even here is 0. So, that water came all the way down. Check this out. So what has happened is the water went down through the foam. Foam it's always supposed to be 0. The water went through the foam and the sheathing, this is the back wall. This is the back wall right here. It sucked up all that moisture. So we're going to have to now Here's the other piece. Where'd this one come from, right? Oh, this came from right in there. Yeah, that's for the ladder. So this is the other one that was in there. And we were just trying to see if everything was okay. And it was showing a little bit of moisture. And that's not terrible right there. You wouldn't think. So we just wanted to check behind it, and that piece went in there. And you can see it's all wet. So we got to try to investigate and find out how bad it went. What you got there? 20 something? Yeah, about 20, 19, 20, 21.
You check the face of it.
Yeah. So you would think that that'd be okay, but now we just clad over this, we trapped all that moisture. It will never dry out. I keep saying this, I keep showing this. It will not dry out. On the other side of this back panel, this is your back wall. You have a vinyl paper that is, the moisture isn't going to pass through it. This is all locking it in. It stays there. That will mold out. So we're going to check everything. We're going to find out exactly what we need to do, and we'll replace whatever insulation we have to. But that's where we're at right now. We got to really make sure this wall is dry before we put it all back together. So we did a couple of test holes here. Now this one here is like 18.7 or so, bouncing around, something like that. But yet it's a little more dry up here. So obviously that's wet, so we're gonna probably have to remove at least something under here. I'm thinking some of this water just drooled down here. So that may be, this is dry, that's dry. So all of that other stuff seems dry right now. So, should I soak this is, I don't know if you even need a meter for that. Beep, 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 beep. It hasn't made the noise. Yeah, that's overload right there. See it? It just went all the way. That's called OL. OL, which makes it SOL. So we're gonna remove some of this and see if we can get it drained out. You know, we still got a little bit of wetness up on here. So on the surface it seems okay, but when you get in a little deeper, it seems like it's still wet. All right, so we got our decking going down, getting all our adhesive on here. And then what we did is we went along where these wires go in. We put some protection here. These other ones that I was telling you about earlier, that was a big hole. So we put some protection in there, but we taped that one together to make sure it wouldn't fall off. That one there, we did them all down. So we want to make sure they were all set. Other than that, we're going to glue it and then get it secured and we're good. Alrighty, so we have got the passenger side, it's already glued. You can see all the glue on this other side, which we'll roll over. See, we got new decking down. Got all our protective strips on. We put a piece of metal on this side. So now when we bring the file on up, we'll have something nice and strong. So what we will do though, they didn't have insulation in here, but we had to go take out the camera and we had to take down a piece of molding. We're gonna put the insulation in that way. So it'll have some sort of insulation in there. We didn't put anything at all. So obviously got the shoulders back on, so we're just gonna roll it over. That's why if you're looking at this and you're going, hey, this don't look glued, it's not. Because once we roll this, we're gonna flip this up. We're gonna get our back wall done. There's the panel. We're gonna get the back wall done. Then we'll bring the siding up. And then we're gonna glue that and pull it back over and stitch it off. That's why it's like that, if you were curious. All right, well that's, so far that's we got the back wall on our Sunseeker. All new Luon. That bubbly you see right there is the window. So now we got to just get the siding on. Siding goes on, then we can start putting the roof together.
I can reach down and get
Alright, we got our Sunseeker done, ready to go. So we've got all the, you can see we got the curbs, everything's all assembled, right? So then when we were taking off this piece here, they had a whole bunch of booger here. And then I think we got a couple little tears in here. We epoxied them, and then we just put this piece of vinyl on here, you know, just a decal wrap. Put that on there just to make it look clean, and also keep the UV light off of it. That's important, so you don't have the UV light. Basically, it's called haloing. It'll halo out the epoxy, and then it starts to break down. So we got our little stamp on here. We put that on there so when the coach comes back, we can monitor it for, you know, see how it's doing overall. If we have any issues, obviously we take care of it, but we haven't with any of them. But the other point is if you ever want to sell the coach and go, hey, we just put a new roof on May 24th. So everything that you see here is all heat welded, and this is the way a commercial roof functions. I go over this quite a bit, and I see the way that some of these people do these roofs. The manufacturers and everybody, they just, as you saw the way probably yours is, and even the way this one was, they just put everything right down to the roof. And it doesn't function that way, not for the long run. And that's how you get these chronic leaks. You'll get these little leaks that you don't even know about. By the time you see a leak in the ceiling, the roof deck soaked it up, the foam, depending on the composition of your roof, whether it's a truss assembly or if it's, you know, and this is a foam roof, which is called ply foam. But that's going to get water in it. Then by the time the framing soaks something up, again, depending on your framing, whether it's aluminum or wood, obviously wood framing would soak it up. Go to the ceiling and so forth. By the time you see it inside, you know, everything's already soaked its way down. So this is why you really want to have curbs. And I know I thought I showed a video before of how when the water comes across, it literally redirects it. That's the whole point of this, is you get rushing water coming across to the curb. As it's coming across, it's going to wash around. That's the whole point of it. So everything is all heat welded. So you don't have to put any more self-leveling, no die-core, anything. This is a real easy roof to maintain. All you have to do is just wash it. You can wash it with just some Dawn dish soap or any dish soap, or not, whatever brand you have. But it just seems to just clean right up. It cleans up real easy. If you want to bring it through a truck wash and have pressure wash it, you can do that as well. So this roof system, this is a 20-year commercial grade roof system. So the all roofing companies and all manufacturers work the same way. They manufacture, or excuse me, they warranty this right here, meaning the membrane. That's what they warranty. They don't know who's installing it. They're not going to give a warranty on labor and so forth. So they're going to say if the roof itself fails, then, you know, they'll, hey, what do you got? How many feet? We'll give you that. Okay, there you go. And that's all they typically do. Our warranty, we want you to come back. So initially, now this coach is from Wisconsin, and I want to thank the customer for coming all this way and for us to do the work. And I believe he travels through here. So that said, we would ideally like to see it in, you know, no later than 60 days. We want to do an initial inspection. That's what we want to do. We show folks how to do an inspection, but we like to see them come back. After that, you come back every year. And some people say, oh, I don't want to go back every year. I don't know why you would not want to go back and have your roof inspected every year for free. That's kind of an unusual comment that I've heard, but to each their own, I guess. I would want somebody to check it out. These are expensive to put on. They take a lot of time. You don't want to do them again. So we go around and we'll check every single thing on here. We may find something that you don't recognize. So again, the roof system is a 60 mil commercial grade roof, and here's all our info. You probably saw it in the card in the front, but there it is. And then we offer the tan, obviously the white, and then in the gray. Those are your three standard colors. So this is a 60 mil. That's the thickness of it. That's how thick the membrane is. It's 60 mil thick. So on your RV is like 25. So this is more than twice the thickness of your RV roof. But this is also a structured membrane. Let's see if I get the light to hit it just right. But you may see a screen or a weave in there. That's reinforcement. That's why they call this a structured or reinforced membrane. That helps to resist against hail, tree branches, that type of stuff. If you were to get a tree branch to poke through this, you can do a hot patch. And the hot patch would be just like the material we use here. It's the same thing. We do a hot patch and it doesn't affect it. How I made the logo over there. That's all. We just patch it and it's done. It's part of the roof. It's welds just like any other welding, like metal. When you weld two pieces of metal together, two pieces of steel, aluminum, whatever, when you weld it A lot of times you're using a medium to do so. Maybe it's a MIG wire, rod, whatever. And in this case, you don't need it because the product itself is the medium, and it'll literally fuse together. You know, it's plastic. That's what TPO means, thermoplastic. That's what it means. So again, we got them all. I guess, you know, we put a couple new ones on, and then we got them all done. And then on the air conditioner right here, you can see we've got that elevated. Now up underneath this air conditioner is a foam gasket, and I read a lot of stuff on the forums. Hey, my air conditioner's leaking. My air conditioner's leaking. And it could be that foam gasket up underneath there that's supposed to be replaced every 2 years, from what I understand. So when they put that down on the roof, you've got all these elements like pollen, dirt, debris that are really just starting to break down that foam gasket. And again, you get these chronic leaks. So you get these chronic leaks, and then sometimes they'll turn into bigger leaks when they start appearing. But the way we've designed this, elevated up off the roof line, you can't get into that gasket. It's protected. So these just basically give it some balance. That's all it does. So if you ever have the air conditioner service, or if you have it replaced, you want to put those back on, and you also want to put back the flashing. Now that's a counter flash. So the purpose of that is when the rain comes down this way, I don't want it to trickle along the bottom back into that gasket, or pretty much not so much trickle, but get blown back in there. So that's why we put that piece on there. That pushes this one here pushes below the counter flash that we have built on the curb, and you can see that little flange on the top. That's where it rides up. That's basically how it stops it. That's called counter flash. So we have it on here as well, and this will push it down below it, get that water to direct out. So that's how all that works. All right, so on the caulking, we got 2 strikes. That's something we want to look for when we do an inspection. I do 2 strikes on here. I believe I also showed on the camera how we seal every single screw. But the reason why I do 2 strikes is because if you've ever operated a caulking gun, you're going to hear it pop and crackle. And when it pops and crackles, that means you injected an air bubble. And now these things are racking, twisting, flexing. Well, you may have that air bubble breach. And if it does, now you possibly get a leak. So what are the chances of one air pocket landing on top of another? That's why I do 2 layers. So this is a new insert trim we put in. I don't sell anything here, but it's real easy to put in. You can see that groove right there, and it goes into that track up there. But every single screw is sealed. I don't want to pull that apart, but they're all sealed. We seal them all up as we put on the gutter. And then the gutter here, that's also, we don't use butyl. I don't like butyl. A lot of people have their opinions on it, but if butyl works so well, I wouldn't see these corners of the coaches rotting out like they do. We wouldn't see all that if the butyl kept it sealed up, right? It doesn't work. But what typically happens when you put butyl up against there and you start screwing this in, got all these screws in there, butyl has, basically it's called a rest. Not a rest, but a rest. So when you put it on there, that putty starts oozing out, and it's going to ooze out and ooze out and ooze out until it finds its rest. Once it's rested, then you can go back and you can cut it and you can caulk it. A lot of people don't do that. They'll put the butyl on there, they put the screws in, and then they come back and they caulk it, and what happens is that butyl is still oozing out and it pushes the caulking away. So we just use a sealant behind all of this. We have an adhesive sealant that we use. So I don't need that. And then when it burps up, we just strike it down, and then we put the 2 layers on it. So that's how that works. These are the boots that we designed. These always stay pliable. They will always stay flexible. It's like a rubber eraser, because these things move around when you start climbing on them. And that's how you generally get leaks, because all that's on the roof are these. And we sealed all these, by the way. But these are the same thing that's on the bottom inside that boot. And all they do is slabber it with self-leveling. And then what happens is the water will get down into there or in the screws or whatever when it fails, and then it starts rotting out the roof deck. And that could have been some of the culprit to the water damage that we had on the back wall that we had to replace here. As you can see, we've got it all back together. So on the other side here, you've got your plumbing, And then obviously we got the skylight in, and we also have a solar fan. So what happens is with the skylight, you'll, especially in the cooler times of the year, you'll have some frost or dew on your lens. Not only is it on the top, it's also on the inside. So the sun will come up and evaporate this off, but on the inside, it can't evaporate it. So what happens is it starts drooling down, and it'll usually go into the roof deck, and in this case, it would end up going into the curb. And you get what's known as dry rot. That's what it is, it's dry rot. And that's why some people just run around trying to seal these things up like a dog chasing its tail, because they'll put the self-leveling on there, and now all the screws are all loosened up. The screws are loosened up because the dry rot got in there and it rotted out the wood. So they put some more self-leveling on, and again, it's just a dog chasing its tail. There's nothing to secure to. So we don't even use screws. This is all glued down. This thing is solely glued down. These things will start fracturing and cracking. You know, that's what it'll do. And I don't want to have a customer come back and say, oh, you put the screws in too tight. It's fine. We went over this and it was absolutely clean. There's nothing wrong with it. So we just put it back. Will it last forever? I don't know how long it'll last. These things expand and contract quite a bit. The sun will really heat them up and they'll start expanding out. And then you'll get a thunder shower. When the thunder shower hits on it, bam, it'll start contracting. And that's where you get those little hair fractures and stuff in there. Some of this little stuff, if you're looking at it, that's just from the old caulking line that they had, and we tried to clean it up the best we could. So getting back to the actual issue with dry rot, this is a solar fan. There's a ductwork, I think I showed it in the earlier clip, but there's a piece of ductwork that goes inside there, and then there's another piece over here. So there's actually an opening down in there. And what'll happen is when the sun comes up to evaporate this off, this will kick on. When this kicks on, it draws air from here, and it'll just go up over in between the two lenses, because they do have an inner lens. It'll go over there, and then it'll just keep that constant air moving to keep it dry. If this pops off, it will leak inside there. There's nothing to protect it from not leaking, okay? So just take this one, put it on top of it, or tape it up, or whatever you have to do, but obviously you want to stop that leak. So I would just take this one and put it on there. And again, we'll say the tree branch goes clip, clip, and takes both of them. Well, then like I said, put some tape on it. And then now this one can't leak, because the way we design these boots is that they're sealed. They're sealed, so that no water can get in there. It just can't. They're loaded all the way down to here. You're not getting water in there. And any water that gets in this pipe is just going down to a holding tank. I doubt you're going to get whatever 20, 30, 40 gallons worth of water, you know, right there on a given rainstorm, that's for sure. So that's pretty much our roof system right here. And then I'll show you, see if I can get down, maybe I can show you from here. One of the other concerns I have with the ladder is when you, yeah, I can see it from here. These lateral supports, when you get on the ladder, they usually just do this, right? They all do that. So I don't want to start tugging on these here and then have them breach, and now we got a leak. So what we did, here I can show you, I put a piece down there, so now the ladder is attached to the bumper. You see? So now all your weight is going to be right there on the bumper instead of just hanging on those lateral supports. So I think that's about it. We don't sell anything, none of this stuff, even the insert trim. You have to buy that like literally pallets at a time. I buy about 2 miles at a time. And so we don't sell anything at all. We don't sell any curbs, any roof, nothing. We're just a service center. And these aren't necessarily DIY videos. We appreciate everybody watching for sure. But we really put these videos together so the customer can see, because customers come in and say, hey, what'd you see, what'd you find, what'd you fix? And then we just say, hey, we got it on video, take a look at it. The other advantage is that folks can see the type of work we do and how well we pay attention to the details, and even little things that could be an issue we want to correct, right? So that part is good, but like I said, we just don't necessarily put these together as a DIY. There's just a lot of other stuff that go through, you know, trying to do this. And I'm not a YouTube content maker. I'm not trying to be that. I just skip all the commercials. I don't really care. Again, I didn't put it together for that. But and actually YouTube is putting the commercials on there, so I really can't get around all that nonsense, so you just skip them. like you said, they aren't necessarily DIY videos because there's so much that we do, and there's a lot of preparation. And these videos would take really a long time. So we appreciate it, but just understand that we're just more of a, this shop is a people over profit shop. That's the shop we are. I want to make sure we're doing exactly what the customer paid us to do, and that's why we want them to come back so we can do an inspection on these coach. We actually, you're not troubling us. It doesn't have to be exactly 12 months. And you could be traveling down here. Gee whiz, we're going to miss our inspection because it's due in whatever month, and we're going through there either 2 months early or 2 months afterwards. That's fine. Just give us a call. You can come in early. You can come in a little later. We just like to see them. You know, we want to make sure we're doing what you paid us to do. I don't know any other shop that offers a free inspection and encourages their customers to come back to actually inspect their roof. I mean, we like to see them come back. If I see a common issue with something, then I'm going to address it, and I'll change a vendor if there's something, a continual issue with the product that I'm using. So I do want to see them come back. That's how we get better at what we do. If we see something, again, we could see something on a certain coach that's happening, and we may want to find out why. So, and again, we want to make sure there's no leaks. We want to make sure that, you know, no one's breached your roof or something that you didn't see. So we want to make sure all that's right. So, like I said, we appreciate everything, and we appreciate y'all watching. If you like the video, I guess you give it a thumbs up or something, and other people will find it. I'm not really sure on all that stuff. I'm not really a tech guy or a social media guy, but we do appreciate you watching. Care package. Right. So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, it will simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do, and it's raining out. Right now it's raining, you're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you try and do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. You squeeze, squeeze. You want to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Get some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. What are you talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably need some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. Oop, hit, there it is. Now you got the film. We take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That simple. It doesn't all sit in there. You can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.